morning, this is Vincent, and welcome to Right of Way, a vlog about traffic, transport, and road safety. Today's episode, we'll do a bus commute from Fairview to Ayala Avenue in Makati. Joining me this morning for our commute is Representative Rufi Biason.
Morning.
Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning. And,
Thanks for joining me on this commute.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bit of an adventure for me because I don't commute normally. But I've heard that you do on occasion use public transportation.
Yes, once in a while. Sometimes out of necessity. Like for example, when EDSA traffic is too heavy, I get off Makati and ride the MRT going to Batasan.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just do it just to get a feel of what's going on.
Well, that's good. That's good. I wish that more legislators, more executive officials would do the same thing to get a first-hand feel for what it is like to commute.
Especially when we talk about transportation issues in Congress, it's important that we have first-hand experience of what's going on.
Yes, a lot of people, a lot of my friends, a lot of people who advocate for public transportation always say that more and more public officials should actually experience public transportation.
It's really an eye-opener.
It really is.
If I may encourage my colleagues, they should do it.
So today we'll do the commute for two of us to experience it firsthand and to share it with you, the audience, for those who don't commute on a regular basis. So we're here in Robinson's in Fairview, right across from the SM, and we're about to hop on a bus and take the commute to Makati. Its time check is 6:11 in the morning. So let's see how long do you think it's going to take?
2 hours minimum, 3 hours probably.
2 hours if we're lucky.
Yeah, if we're lucky.
Okay, so let's head off to the bus.
Chief Ayala. Just stay in the front or back?
Stay in the back.
I'm usually a back rider.
Ah, okay. I mean, all the way in the back, huh?
Yeah.
Why do you like it in the back?
I like to see the
whole view.
Bus, yeah. And I guess I got used to it during my school days. I used to ride at the back of the bus, the school bus.
Ah, okay. It's not a segregation thing.
No.
Okay, so we moved out at 6:16. Tell me, Congressman, why did you start getting into commuter issues? Because I noticed that you do seem to take this up as an advocacy.
Yes, in a way. Because I see the importance of having efficient public transport, reliable public transport. And being a member of the House, I know I can do something, at least to contribute. Well, it really started during my first term in Congress.
Which was when?
Back in 2001.
Okay.
Our main concern then was the PNR line in Muntinlupa.
Right.
So I got very much involved in that. And of course, my travel abroad exposed me to how public transport is in other countries.
Yeah.
I saw the convenience. Yeah. And it's something we really should have.
Yeah.
I'm a believer in what the mayor of Bogota said. A really developed country is one where the elite use public transport.
That's right. That's so true because you've had opportunities to travel abroad. I've had opportunities to travel abroad. And when you go abroad, especially to the major cities, everybody's taking public transport. I mean, there are private cars, but I'd say a vast majority of people, and these are in developed countries, so you're talking about business executives, office workers, right?
You see people in suits.
Yeah, suits, politicians even, taking public transportation. As someone who's worked in government, as a legislator, one of the questions I have is why haven't we been able to deliver mass transport options to the people?
My observation is the priorities on the policies. I think we're trying to cater too much to the interests of those in the transportation business. I mean, of course, we should ensure that they're profitable.
Right. They're
But I think the focus too much is on their welfare. In other countries, public transport is handled by government,
Yes.
run by government. In our case, of course, probably because of limitations by government, we allow private sector to help in. But the focus is on their profitability and probably some selfish interests of certain groups. Government fails to see that the bigger and the biggest stakeholder they have are the commuters themselves.
That always seems to be lost. I mean, as someone outside of government and observing from the outside, that focus on the consumer, on the commuter, always seems to be lost when decision makers and policy makers are sitting around a table coming up with policy.
It becomes political in the sense that most of the transportation groups are organized. They can hold rallies, they can put pressure.
And the transportation groups represent the transportation providers.
Yes,
So
the
businesses.
transportation providers, the businesses, yes. Whereas the ordinary commuter, they're not organized. So they don't have time to organize rallies and put public pressure. So they're sometimes forgotten.
I mean, if you think about, as you were saying earlier, if you think about the commuter, almost 80% of the people in Metro Manila are commuters, and so it's hard to organize them because there's no rallying point, or it's because everyone is, and precisely because they are commuters, that means they're working.
Yes.
So they don't have time to attend congressional hearings and represent the commuters in these kinds of policy making processes.
Well, another.
But if I may interject, but our representatives are supposed to represent the people.
Yes. Technically, we should. The representatives in Congress should represent their constituents.
Correct.
Yeah, they should speak out as, the voices of the commuters in their district.
Right. And as a representative of Muntinlupa, do you get to talk to your constituents about commuter issues?
Yes.
Is it an issue that they bring up with you?
Yeah, well, I do regular consultations on various issues with my constituents. So I get feedback directly from them.
Do commuting issues come up?
Yes. Because when we talk about livelihood, when we talk about inflation, of course the cost of transportation comes up.
Yeah.
And my constituents who use public transport going to work, of course, they have something to say.
Right, yeah.
They have a lot to say.
As we all do. Oh, what time is it? It is 7:45. So we started out at about 6:15, right?
Yeah, around 6:15.
So it's an hour and a half, and we just arrived at Quezon Memorial, so, which is probably about 10-12 kilometers.
Yeah, around. Yeah.
From Fairview, and the traffic is unrelenting. So we're not even halfway. So it looks like we're going to do that.
There's still the rest of EDSA.
There's still the rest of EDSA, so it looks like we're probably going to be between 2.5 and 3 hours on this trip. Congressman, last episode I took up the issue of the bus rapid transit, and it seems to be a very viable solution, especially perhaps for places like Commonwealth, EDSA, maybe Quezon Ave. And yet the Department of Transportation for now shelved the proposal for the bus rapid transit. What are your thoughts on the bus rapid transit?
Well, I've seen the BRT in action more than 10 years ago when I visited Jakarta, and I think it's a pretty good idea. It's more affordable than putting up a new rail system.
Yeah, if the estimate is about, it can be as little as 1/10 to 1/40th the cost of a rail system, depending.
Yeah, it's a doable thing. I would say it's easily doable in Metro Manila and even my other cities. But the DOTR officially, in its official statements to us in Congress, they told us that they sent it back for further study. Although as I understand, there was already an NEDA approval and it's gone through the process.
Yeah.
So I think they just want to make sure that everything would be in place, that it would be well studied.
I think it's overstudied. I mean, there are BRT systems in 160 cities around the world. And so it's a proven form of a mode of transportation, especially in congested areas where there's no more space to build, let's say, a rail system, or it's too expensive to build a rail system. And so, you know, as a citizen, as an ordinary citizen, it makes me wonder what further study do they need? Because it already, as far as I know, got NEDA approval, it's got all the approvals necessary. And as far as I know, all it required was to sign off by the Transportation Secretary.
And that's why some members of Congress are really pushing the DOTR on this. Because we see it as a means of providing reliable public transportation. Because we have to be able to move more people through the city in a more efficient manner. Although we have UV expresses, jeepneys, but they add more vehicles on the street, and per unit they move just a few people. Unlike a BRT, you get people moving by the quantity. It's more efficient.
But as you were saying earlier, sometimes these policymakers forget their stakeholders are.
Yes. I mean, like in that hearing, we were talking about the modernization of the jeepney. And much of the discussion centered around how do we ensure that profitability for the transportation providers is safeguarded.
Right.
So I had to remind everyone that our primary stakeholders are the commuters. That we should be able to provide them with efficient, safe, reliable, and predictable transportation. Because that would really encourage people to leave their cars at home and take public transport if it's available. I cited the example of the jeepney. I mean, how can you predict your travel on a jeepney? You don't know if it will take you just 30 minutes or 1 hour. Because the jeepney can stop anywhere it wants to stop. Wait for passengers. You know. So, but for public transport, the Department of Transportation, government, should be ensuring that the commuters are provided the service. The business of the transportation providers should just come secondary. That's my view on that. So far, what I've seen is that we're putting too much attention on the business end. And sometimes it's the commuters that suffer.
Okay, as you may notice, we're in a different bus. Somewhere in Cubao, we had to get off the bus because I had to use the toilet. It's now, time check, it's about 9:05. We are approaching Bundia along EDSA, so we're almost at our final destination. So this has been a nearly 3-hour trip.
3 hours.
3 hours from Fairview all the way to Makati. Before we end the episode, I'd like to talk to... Whoa! That's the kind of ride we're in. I want to ask Congressman Rufy about his House Bill 8063, which is the creation of the Office of Commuter Affairs, which would be an office in the Department of Transportation. So, Congressman, tell us a little bit about your concept here.
Well, the idea isn't exactly original to me.
Okay.
The Department of Transportation created the Office of Commuter Affairs, by executive action. Now, why the need to pass a bill? Well, one is to institutionalize it, to make it more permanent as an existing office in the department. And second, so that resources can be allocated to that office. Because right now they have difficulty really performing the ideal mandate because they don't have enough personnel. They don't have an office that can operate on its own.
So there's an existing unit or office?
Yes, there's an existing unit. There's an officer in charge, some personnel, but it's like a token entity. They have a nice plan. They want to put up something like a contact center.
Okay, so like a call center.
Yeah, for commuters to be able to immediately bring to the attention of the office any concern. But it's just a plan because they don't have resources to put it up. There's no allocation for their office. So the idea is to create it by law so that it would be officially created as a budget item.
Yes, yes. So you have the resources.
Yes, it will have the resources needed to support the needs of the commuters.
Right. Well, I hope that this bill does get some attention and that you're able to institutionalize the Office of Commuter Affairs, because right now, and I may be wrong, but right now it seems that nobody in government is really looking after the concerns of the commuters.
It's like during our last hearing, different agencies of the DOTR were there. The newly created Office of Commuter Affairs was not present. Yeah. Because even in the DOTR itself, one is apparently there's little knowledge about the office, and second, the focus of the discussions, even among those officers present, are not really touching on commuters themselves as a stakeholder.
I'd like to thank Congressman Biason again for joining me today in this commute. Not only did he travel with me from Fairview to Makati, he had to wake up earlier than I did because he had to travel from Muntinlupa all the way to Fairview just to join me, and I live not too far from Fairview. So Congressman, I'd like to thank you for that.
It's a pleasure.
And at the same time, I'd like to appeal to our other policymakers, especially other legislators, to do a field trip. Congressman Rufy does this on a fairly regular basis. He goes out and he rides public transport. But for other congressmen, for the senators out there who might be listening, I encourage you to do this and experience it for yourself firsthand so you can understand the plight of the commuter. So again, Congressman Rufy, thank you for joining me. It was a short 3-hour ride because we had a good conversation. And this is Vincent signing off.